everybody. You are listening to The Queer Life on KBBF 89.1. LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I'm your host, Kaiya Kramer, and I'm with my co-host, Mandi Hauwert. And this is a special remote interview. Tonight we have a very special guest. I know I say that every single time on the show, but I consider all of our guests special.
They're all super special.
We've had some pretty amazing people in the community come out to speak on all matters LGBT and some matters rainbow.
Well, didn't we say yesterday, on Friday? Yesterday we had a doctor and then a doctor and then another doctor.
Yeah, we tend to get a lot of doctors. Disclaimer.
We had double rainbow.
Yeah, we've had double rainbow. Have you seen the double rainbow video on YouTube?
Double rainbow. Oh, that guy?
Yeah, we
yes,
on the
yeah.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah,
that was great. So you're following in the footsteps of
I have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, I know it's some great stuff. So without much further ado here, I want to jump right into our interview. This is a rad interview here. We are sitting here with Fallon Fox, an American mixed martial artist. That's MMA, UFC, all that stuff, cage fighting, all that jazz. She's the first openly transgender athlete in MMA history. This woman is out there killing it, not in a literal sense, sort of, but
Figuratively. Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. That's pretty awesome.
And this is a special interview for Mandi and I, because
I'm normally not on camera.
Yeah, Mandi's normally not on camera, because the studio at the radio station is very small.
It's tiny.
We are at my remote studio, aka my room. So.
It's bigger in here than in the studio.
This is true.
Oh wow.
But yeah. So this is really special for us because first off, we've covered the subject of trans athletes a lot before on this show. And to have somebody who's really just pushing it and killing it out there is a treat, because what we want to do during this episode here is to break down kind of the myths and legends around trans people, and the whole strength of a man thing, and the whole all this nonsense, because there's quite a bit of science that goes behind it. We're gonna cover that during this interview here. We're gonna go over Fallon's experience as a trans woman, and so what I want to happen from this is I want to have people who are listening to this to understand, hey, trans fighters are just like anybody else in terms of a fighting level, in terms of heart, in terms of supposed to be there, and so there's a lot to uncover. All right, so I'm gonna shut up here. So first off, we went through your Wikipedia a little bit. I do my research, and I want to first talk about you as a person, you as Fallon Fox, the human being, you as a trans person. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience? Where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up? I grew up in Ohio, in Toledo, Ohio. Do you know where that is?
Oh wait, I know where Toledo is, but. Yeah.
No?
Smiling.
It's about. Toledo, Ohio is about 45 minutes south of Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, okay.
It's like right on the border of Ohio and Michigan. It's a industrial town. So I mean, it was a kind of like a booming industrial town at first, but then over the years it just started to the businesses started to go away. So it's just kind of like a loose industrial town right now. Yeah.
Do you still have all your family out there?
Do I still? Yeah, I have some family out there. I've got my brother out there, my sister's out there, my father's out there, my mother. I mean, I don't talk to them that much, but they're still there. So.
Awesome. And where are you currently?
Currently, I am in Chicagoland area.
Okay.
The
That's pretty
amusement park,
broad, I know,
Chicagoland.
but
Chicagoland, where dreams come true.
Chicagoland. That's
So
true, actually. My dream came true.
Yeah, trans MMA dreams come true.
So that means you're near Great Lakes or anything?
Oh, for sure, right?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Navy boot camp is kind of like north of Chicago a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went there in the wintertime. When did you go?
Actually, I was there in the summer. I left in the winter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you mentioned military here. How long were you in the military for?
I was in the military from 1996 until 2000. So it was like 4 years. And basic your 4 year enlistment.
And that's a funny point because Mandi. Wait, how long were you in the military for?
4 years, 4 and 4. They do 4 years active duty, 4 years inactive.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was in '99 to 2003.
Wow. So
Wow.
two trans ladies in the military.
At least 2, right?
Yeah. Which is, and the military is something that we covered in previous episodes as well. What's the statistic? It's like at least 15,000 active service military members are statistically trans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In hiding,
That's a lot.
obviously. But
Yeah, hiding.
Wait, you said 15,000, you said?
Yeah.
15,000 out of what's our full force?
It's like 120,000.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So what percentage is that? Like,
Over.
what's the percent?
It's like 10% or something like that. Or
Actually, what they said is that the study they did is that trans individuals are much more likely to serve than other non-trans individuals, like based on the trans population. So, all right, if somebody does the numbers, it's anywhere from like 10% to like that's like, oh wow, that's crazy. Wow. Yeah. 10 out of 100 people.
So, did you think that at any point you'd be serving with potentially other trans people now?
I'll tell you what, if I could go back and do it again, I probably would.
Me
just
too.
just to be, a transgender person in the military.
Yeah.
When they change all of this and,
Right.
And what was your job in the military?
I was an operations specialist.
Oh, okay, OS.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew many OSs. They stayed up late nights watching radar screens.
We did. In the dark. And surrounded by all of that blue. Yeah, I did surface and air detail. So we, we tracked surface contacts on that little screen, and I was in air D&T for a lot. We were back there tracking aircraft. I was part of Operation Desert Fox, which is ironic.
Oh my gosh.
That's really great.
Not that many people remember that, but yeah. I mean, yeah. All in all, I mean, it was a pretty interesting experience. Yeah.
So did you do mixed martial arts before you went into the military? Was this something you discovered during being in the military, or did you were like, afterwards you're like, you know what, I wanna kick some butt,
Well, let's see. I didn't have any military. I'm sorry, we're talking military. I didn't have any MMA experience before I started training for it. I had some wrestling experience in high school. So I had like 1 year of folk style wrestling, if you know what that is. It's basic high school wrestling. Yeah. And
with the little spandex and
yeah. These types of things. And then when I was in the Navy, we did a little bit of wrestling there, like on the side on the ship, just as like an extracurricular activity. So like when you weren't on watch, we go into the hangar bay and they put out these mats, for wrestling class, and then. So we'd be doing like wrestling in between fighter aircrafts, and when we had and sometimes missiles and bombs that they had like setting on the side to load.
Wow.
during those times when it was like, you know, when they were doing flight operations, or we had something.
Was that on the carrier?
On the carrier, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, could you tell us a little bit more about your martial arts background? Were you a part of a martial arts school? I know you did, you know, wrestling in school, but wrestling in the Navy as well. But did you join like a martial arts school afterwards?
Oh, let's see. After the military, I pretty much just stopped doing active activities like that. I mean, I worked out and kept up on my physical conditioning. Um, I was planning on doing some wrestling, but I didn't. And I didn't get back into anything like a slightly martial arts related, like wrestling or anything like that, until when was this? late 2007, early 2008 was when I started doing jujitsu. I went to a mixed martial arts gym, and they had like jujitsu classes and wrestling classes, and they had striking classes like kickboxing. And, you know, I walk in there and, like, you know, I get to get down and smell the mats, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah. I remember that smell, the sport. And, like, you know, and I was like, you know, I fell in love with it again, but this time it was so much better.
Yeah, say.
You know?
Yeah.
I could do it in a way that I felt like really, really comfortable doing, and it was just amazing. I just fell in love with it, and I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm going to stop doing this. No way in hell I'm going to let it go." So,
awesome. Yeah. Let's talk about your transition a little bit, and then we'll connect it back to your martial arts, to the MMA.
Yeah.
So when exactly did you would you say you began your transition? Because I know the whole coming out, when you say you first came out kind of thing, is like, it's different. Everybody defines it a different way. You know, for some people it's like, I came out on Facebook at this time, you know. It's like, what was that for you?
Yeah, coming out or starting transition?
You know, coming out as a trans woman.
Coming out as a trans woman. Wow. What would I suppose I didn't understand when I first came out, like, what it was that was going on with me, which is like kind of common to a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I remember I was very emotionally distraught, and I went to my father and I took him in the car. He was one of the first persons I told. And I was like, you know, there's something going on with me, and I've been doing a little research, and I think I might be this thing that's like transsexual or transgender or something like that. And I'm just talking to you because I feel like I need your help. I was like, I can't live this way anymore. I need to do something about it. And that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't go over so well. But yeah.
And you know, which is an unfortunate kind of situation for a lot of trans people when they first come out. You know, sometimes the parent can, you know, think it's a joke, or that you know, it can be against some kind of religious creed or homophobia, transphobia. So, you know, we've encountered a lot of stories here, and that's, you know, part of the reason why we're doing this work and sharing your story, is that, you know, no matter what, that's, you know, and we say this through every episode, no matter what, you know, it's, you got to do what you got to do to
to survive, to make it, to move on, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, thank you for, you know, sharing that moment with us. And so when you decided to come out, you know, how easy was it for you to come out full time?
To come out full time, that was hard. Coming out full time was hard. It was that anticipation, I guess. I suppose I was farther along in this mentally and prepared for it, because I had spent like a lot of time, how do I say, kind of like in an androgynous type of dress for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I was a truck driver, so for a couple of years before I went full time, I was taking hormones and developing and, you know, tying things down, you know, and just like, you know, and I was picking like lighter colors, and I was like, and in that industry, you know, there's a lot of fear of like where at truck stops. You know, are they gonna picture me as like gay or like trans or something like that? And I'm just like holding everything in. You know, I want to let like just my feminine nature out like so bad, and just you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I picked out the most feminine guy clothes that I could find, clothes I could find, you know, and I just to try and get closer to that, and it just ended up making me look very gay. Yeah. Yeah.
For reals, yeah.
We know what that feels like.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. And
I mean,
and if you don't mind me asking, when you were presenting male, did you at a time identify as a quote unquote straight male? Were you a straight dude before?
at that time when I was perceived as by many people to be gay,
Yeah.
oh my God, what was I think? That was a long time ago. I can't even remember that's a good question, right? Yeah, I don't think I talked very much about my sexuality to like fellow truck drivers or like any, or you know, to my friends, I suppose I was telling them that I was bi or like, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I was.
Mhm.
And to those who really knew me, I told them that I was transgender, but that I wasn't, you know, expressing that openly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because and the reason we ask, there's a lot of different trajectories that you know that the trans women, you know, trans men too, you know, come from, and for you know the majority of you know cis straight people that we've encountered, you know, a lot of people seem to think that we come from a background where we spent a lot of time just being quote unquote sissies most of our lives, you know, and that,
Sorry.
you know, I like that. And that, you know, we couldn't do anything hard, you know, it was just
You
like,
just couldn't hack it. You just couldn't take it.
yeah, you know, we couldn't take it as a man, so we just like came out as a woman, just, you know, because, you know, it just made more sense, and it was like so obvious to a lot of people. So, you know, but you know, the reason we ask is because we want to share different stories, we want to share different trajectories, and to show that we're, you know, we come from all different kinds of backgrounds, and that you can be feminine and still do masculine, quote unquote, activities.
Mhm.
But no, that's really funny. Um, so when you came out, what was the general experience of you know your friends and family around? You said it was not so easy when you came out with your dad.
Yeah. It wasn't so easy with my dad. It wasn't so easy for my mom. As a matter of fact, when I told him, I'm in my 20s, I know, and I'm an adult, you know, and all of this. But I mean, I went to them for help, and because of all that fear of how they would perceive me, and because I was worried about losing my daughter and their love, and you know, then they started telling me that like there was an actual hell and you're going to go there if you like keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I kind of believe them, and they ended up suggesting and paying for me to go to a gay reversion therapist.
Therapy.
It was just with the therapist. It wasn't like it was
not like the group therapy.
It was his own specialized version of it. So like I would go there and we would have like sessions, right? Because of what I asked my dad was, I was like, can you get me to therapy? Can you get me to someone who can help me? It was like, I will get you the help that you need. So I ended up there, and it was gay reversion therapy. That's what he specialized in.
Wow.
Right. So I would go there, and we were talking in the therapist's office, and he would send me home, you know, with projects like read this book and that book about this gay person deconverting from being gay to straight. And it was like all these things about all these books and stories about gay men and gay sex. and I was like, this has nothing to do with me. Like, it's like not it like what? And then I would go there. And I'm like, you don't understand. That's not. This isn't like me. Like that's not. It's not about sex. And then you just be like, yeah, go back and read another book. You know.
Wow.
But it was. I mean, as a matter of fact, I mean, it's so twisted that thing that they did. Remember the first day I went into that guy's office, like I go, and I sit down in the chair, right, and on the couch, and he knew that my father told him that I felt like a woman, I wanted to be a woman, blah blah blah. Yeah, he knew what it was, you know. But I sit down, and the first words out of his mouth was, "Tell me about your homosexual lifestyle."
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
The reversion therapy, it's illegal in this state.
Illegal in
isn't it?
California.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't back. It wasn't back then. It was just recent.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very recent law. I think this year.
Wow. Yeah.
There have been a lot of trans inclusive laws that have passed here in California in the past year, including the respect after death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm happy you two haven't gone through that. I don't.
Yeah. No. We didn't have to get through that, but that sounds horrible. Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine that.
You know, I've gone and done a lot of public speaking and spoken at schools and universities and spoken to mental health professionals. And the one question I ask everybody around here is, raise your hand if you have a friend or somebody who identifies as being gay. And nearly everybody raises their hand in the room. And for everybody out there, and of course we're trans, which is a completely different issue, which we've talked about much on the show, but everybody has no problem with around here, at least, with people who identify with the sexual orientation of being gay. I say, but my second question after that is, okay, keep your hand raised if you have a friend or a family member who identifies as being trans. And nearly everybody drops their hands. It's just kind of just a representation that not many people know about us, which is part of the reason why we're doing this interview with you. But also a lot of people seem to confuse us, like you're saying with that therapy, that they think that we're gay,
Right. Yeah.
They think that we're just effeminate homosexuals, but
it kind of skews the numbers, right?
Yeah, no, it's like, no, I'm just a gay man with boobs. No, it's
it's a lack of understanding the mentality of a trans person. It's that whole misconstruing sexuality with gender and all of that stuff. It's been going on forever. But
yeah, so there's even a misunderstanding in places like Thailand. I'm Thai, and like my mom thought when I came out, she was like, oh, so you're gay, right, son? And I was like, no, I'm like, not exactly. I'm like,
your people do good work, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Oh, are you Preacher?
Preacher, yeah, right.
Nice. Say hey.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good segue there. So you've had GRS done, right?
Correct. Yes.
And for our listeners that don't know, GRS, also known as SRS, also known horribly and politically incorrectly as the sex change operation. Just to let y'all know again that is not common lingo. That is not politically correct. It's either sexual reassignment surgery, which is being phased out as well, gender reassignment surgery, or gender confirmation surgery. But
stop watching Hedwig and the Angry Inch, please.
Oh my god! I got an angry inch now. Oh my gosh! Neil Patrick Harris. No.
Yeah. So between the three of us, we have 3 different doctors.
Right. Yeah.
Preacher.
I'm Marcy Bowers.
And I'll be getting Dr. Meltzer in Arizona.
Tell me how it goes.
Yeah. Come compare. No.
Send me pictures. No, nah,
No, yeah,
no.
You don't want them floating on the internet. Yeah.
You know, it's like you go to a trans support group. It's like, no, check this out.
That's the oddest thing. We're like so comfortable.
Yeah.
With that, you know.
They just want to go check it out. It's beautiful.
Well,
you want to go on a tangent or?
Yeah, no, go ahead. This can go in any direction.
Yeah. So what do you two think? I find that transgender women are more open about their body than and showing it, and you know all those things and sexuality than cisgender women. That's just been my experience, and my personal perspective on that is that we're not mentally geared from society because we're raised so little as living lives as boys, you know, to be slut shamed. You know, in our minds, like, you know what I mean? Like, and to me, a lot of times I think like, this is the way that it could or should be, you know?
Right.
You know, that right. Mentality, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
No, that it's great that you bring it up because like Mandy, we have conversations about this all the time.
Well, I already told her she's gonna look at mine.
Yeah. But no, it's that's exactly what I think it is. It's because we've been socialized male our entire lives. You know, girls have a certain social, you know, what you were saying, the slut shaming. You know, don't show off your body. Don't be careful with a man. There's all these different things. Don't accept a drink from a stranger. There's all this different stuff that girls are taught not only by their elders but also by their peers. And girls, when they socialize, they spend more time communicating to each other about, quote unquote, and stereotypically, feelings and relationships and human connections. Whereas boys are socialized to speak, report talk style. Okay, this is what I did. This is, where I did it. These are the details of the event, you know. You're writing a field report basically verbally.
Yeah.
What I was going to say also is that I believe it also has something to do a little bit with the idea that trans women are just proud to have the bodies that are finally in line with their minds, and they just want to show it off. They want to share it. They don't want to just hold and keep it in. They want to share it with everybody, and especially other trans women. You really want to share that, and maybe inspire other trans women to kind of say, "Hey, you can do it too," you know. So yeah, I mean, for me, that's what it is.
I like that too. I like that idea of like, sharing with I mean, I hopefully, I plan on making like a transition timeline video.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Great. That'd be really good.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really good.
Well, I know the cis community
more of us
really
do that, because I remember watching when I was watching those transition timeline videos, like, I mean, I don't know about you two, but like that was inspiring and it helped me keep going. Like, I remember there were a few of them that I would just like watch and then just like go back, like feeling okay. I want to feel like good about this. Like, go back and let's watch it again and just like, you know what I'm saying? Like to give myself hope that it could be done. Does that make sense? Like, yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So.
No, I remember watching those myself, and I was just like, I love the ones where it's just like, it's like, he's like a beer drinking bro, and he's got like a big old beard, and and he's all muscly or whatever, because I was fairly big for a while too, and
I'm not gonna talk about my porn stash.
Yeah, she had a porn stash, but I'd see these videos, and I would literally watch them and see their quote unquote transformation, and I would cry because I'm just like, oh my gosh, that could be me.
All right.
And
yeah.
Which is why we want to share your story, because I want a lot of young potentially trans people to look and be like, hey, that could be me as well. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people, myself included, who are like, hey, I can't, do martial arts anymore. I can't, I wouldn't be able to do this. So you've come out in your life as a trans woman, and you said it was somewhat difficult with some people. like most of us, were there people that you've lost, or has people been generally supportive or just kind of ambivalent?
At first, when I first came out, most people who were around me that I was really really close with, kind of like turned their backs on me a little bit, and some people who were farther away from me, just came right in with open arms. Were like, I want to help you, and like, all this stuff. So like, it's been my experience that you never can tell, and sometimes the people who you think are the closest are the ones who are going to be rubbed the wrong way because they're actually feeling like they're going to lose you. Like that's what they think. They think that they're losing you, that you're like dying, that like that person that they knew before, that whole identity is leaving them, which it is. It is. Like I mean, you're the same person that like same physical person, that same, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can't even go there, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we've talked a little bit about your experience, coming out to friends and family. Not everybody's been, completely receptive, it sounds like, in your experience.
That would be the truth. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I've had some people who were actually very, very nice, very, very kind, very accepting. My teammates were very, very accepting. Of course, I didn't come out to them while I was transitioning, but like, when they found out that I was transgender, I mean, they like, not one of them has been mean to me or has said anything horrible to me to my face, which is
really good.
Yeah, and they've been very positive and supportive. I couldn't ask for much more. So yeah.
When you came out, did you go to any like trans support groups? Was there any therapy in your area, like supportive therapy? Not.
Yeah. I've never really been to like a big trans support group.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we're sitting around in the chairs that I always see on TV and people talking about it. I've never been to one. I had my therapist that I was going to, often. I stopped going like after I transitioned. I was pretty much figured I was like through all of that, So, but yeah.
So were you doing MMA before your transition or after?
Right. So I started training for MMA in 2007 or 2008, one of the two. It was like around that December-ish, Christmas time, I think. I don't know. But let's see. I started fighting in MMA, actual MMA fight. What was that? That was 2011, I believe. Wow. Was my first amateur fight. I had been fighting in jiu-jitsu before that. So let's see. 2008 was when I started. 2007 when I started training. I think I started my first competition in late 2008, or early 2009, one of those two. But I went to Florida. That was my first jiu-jitsu competition, and I fought in the black belt category just because I wanted to see how far I could go. Because you can go up, and you can go down, right? So in no gi, which is when you're not wearing a gi, right? Mm-hmm. Thing that the karate suits.
Yeah. We get it.
Right. So I went no gi, and I got my butt handed to me. Pretty bad. I got a couple of takedowns because I had wrestling experience, but like, I didn't get submitted because by that time I had enough defense, in me to do that. And it was absolute also. Or actually, no, I fought in absolute. Do you know what absolute is? It's when all the weight categories are combined into one. So you could be fighting someone around like 105 pounds to like 250 pounds. It doesn't matter. It's just like they take everybody and just put them all in one category. It's absolute. So in my weight class, I got my butt kicked. And in absolute division, I got my butt kicked. But then when we did gi, I did okay. I didn't win first place. I got second place as a white belt. That was the beginning stages. I think I did as good as I could have in that early stages. So. What was the question? I went off on a huge tangent about jiu-jitsu. Oh yeah, that's right. And then I did striking. Then I started working on my striking. I started learning Muay Thai. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I went to a really, really good school in the Chicagoland area, and for like maybe 8 months or so, and learned a lot. But I'm talking like it wasn't like Muay Thai for like 2 nights a week. No, it was like every day, like morning and night, because that's what I was doing with jiu-jitsu before. It was like afternoon, night, and training people, and like it's not just for like 1 hour. It's like for like 3 hours blocks that I'm there working with people, learning things, teaching things. So that's what I started doing with Muay Thai, and I got proficient at that like very, very, very fast, because of the amount of time that I put in.
No, that's absolutely incredible. I mean, shoot, you seriously are an athlete, which brings me into the next part of the interview. In previous episodes, we've talked about trans people and what our strength levels are. How we're viewed in terms of like being athletes, and what hormone levels do to us, what gender reassignment surgery does to us. And I want to cite one of our notes here. The International Olympic Committee, which we've cited numerous times in previous episodes, the governing body charged with overseeing Olympic competition and those events leading up to the Games, became the first athletic body to adopt a policy of inclusion regarding transgender athletes. The IOC's policy says only those who have 1. Undergone sex reassignment surgery, 2. Had hormone treatments for at least 2 years, and 3. Received legal recognition of their transitioned sex can participate consistent with their gender identities. And that's as of 2003. Where does that stand in terms of the MMA's rules? Is that pretty much the same?
I believe it's pretty much the same, but I would have to talk to the boxing commission about that. I just know that I fit within the parameters.
Yeah, right.
I just did my paperwork and but I believe for us it's 2 years. I believe it's 2 years after a gender reassignment surgery or orchiectomy.
You've come under fire for being quote unquote having quote unquote the strength of a man. While you're fighting cis women.
Obviously, my strength of a man face.
Yeah.
If you're listening and without any picture, be happy you are. I don't know. It's either a gross misunderstanding of how our biology works, or they're just doing it on purpose to try and of course, keep me away from fighting. But the whole strength of a man thing, I don't know. We all know that estrogen and lack of testosterone will make your muscles decrease. Like it's like not even a thing. Make the strength of your muscles decrease. You know what I mean? It's not even a thing that's even arguable, but they still argue it.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know for me in particular, I was talking with Mandi about this. I used to be the person to go to people's houses, lift up boxes for stuff, help them move pianos and everything. And then now when I go to the grocery store, they ask me, it's like, oh, okay, ma'am, would you like help take us with somebody to take your groceries out for you? I'm like,
it's all about perception. Like even before, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point, right? Mm-hmm. When I would go to grocery stores and I was still presenting as male, right? I could go in there the same day and reach the same person, and they wouldn't know if I were to come back later. You know what I'm saying? But dressed in female clothing. I mean, you guys know, like you just go in there and like he'll be like, the guy bagging it. Well, you need help out to your car, and then like the next person will come along and be like, if you come back later, they'll be like, oh God. It's just a crazy situation, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how is it that all these different athletic organizations, the International Olympic Committee, the MMA associations, Association of Boxing Commissions, UK Football Association, Ladies Professional Golf Association, US Association of Blind Athletes, US Soccer Federation, US Track and Field, US Triathlon, Women's Flat Track Derby Association, the World Anti-Doping Agency. How is it that all these professional organizations seem to have no problem with trans women competing alongside cis women, but everybody still seems to believe that we as trans women have the strength of a man, or like this athletic advantage? Like, why is that? Do you know?
Because it's a conspiracy of the liberals. That's what it's all about.
It's part of the politically correct liberal agenda, right?
Yeah, to get transgender people in power and take everything over.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we're getting in your schools. We're getting into
Wait.
I know that's like the craziest idea.
Yeah, it's like,
it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would anyone do that? Why would doctors say that? Why would the Olympic Committee, the International Olympic Committee say that? Why would all these sports say that if it wasn't true? Like, what would their slant be? What would they have to gain from all of this? So ridiculous. Yeah.
I've been following you online for quite some time now, and the one thing that really sticks out to me is the whole Joe Rogan situation. Like, he's a comedian, then he becomes like a sports announcer, and then all of a sudden, he goes on his radio show and he starts, spewing all this anti-trans rhetoric, that I'm not going to repeat some of the things he said, but I mean, it's just like, basically the whole strength of a man argument. And, a lot of it, like nearly everything he said came off as extremely offensive in a very personal way that affects anybody who's trans. I mean, what's your response to that?
In my personal opinion, what the things that he said were transphobic. If you ever get a chance, if you haven't seen it yet, if you feel like throwing up, you can always go to YouTube and just type in Joe Rogan, Fallon Fox, and bring up all the videos. There's not just one. There's like, what is it, like 3 or 4 of them that are out there now, right?
Yeah.
What I noticed, in my opinion, was that in his first video, in my opinion, he started off saying he started off saying all these horrible things and saying like I had advantage A, B, or C, or D, right? And then in the end, he's like, it's advantage A and kind of half of B, like he backtracked. A lot of the advantages that he said that I had, like, what was it? Muscles, the muscle mass. He was saying that it's it's highly probable and likely that transgender athletes have stronger muscles than cisgender women.
Yeah.
He was talking about my bigger hands. like I don't know, which I don't have. This is foreshortening, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. It's perspective.
Yeah.
But and a lot of stuff. But if you get a chance, make sure to Google Fallon Fox bloody elbow, and there you will find my rebuttal to all of his arguments, and you get to see some of my writing, which I write a lot better than I speak, as you can probably tell. But that's the case for all of us. But I mean, I take his his argument and just deconstruct it, like, and tear it all to shreds. The funny thing is, like, if everything that he said was true, I would think that he would have responded and like corrected. I mean, it was a challenge. I set a challenge out to him. I was like, if everything that you said is true, then tell me what is the mechanical advantage of the male frame? Because he said that transgender people, because of the way that our bones are situated, because some of us have wider shoulders and smaller hips, and the socket, I think that people were saying, I'm not sure if he said this, but I know that he said that the hips were transgender people's hips are smaller or slimmer, and that somehow adds more kicking power is one of the things that I believe he was saying. And I don't know how that's supposed to work. I mean, can you two figure that out? Like what could he possibly mean there? Like, what could that even mean?
Well, he's probably talking about bone alignment and all that, but the problem with that is that whether you have narrow hips or wide hips, many females out there, they don't have wide hips. They have male structured hips. They're very narrow. So would they not then be allowed to compete because they have a hip advantage? Exactly. It makes zero sense. And on top of that, females have advantages as well over men when it comes to things like the ability to have raw speed and flexibility in general.
Flexibility, big one.
Yeah. And so there are advantages and disadvantages to being both. But when it comes to the issue of muscle mass, without that testosterone in your body, you don't maintain whatever muscle mass you had. You're not going to maintain it. No matter how much you work out, all you have to do is look at Chloe Johnson, who does CrossFit. She works out like a mad woman, right? But she looks no bigger than any other cis girl who works out just as much. And her stats sit somewhere in the middle. She's not even at the top. She's somewhere in the middle. There's like 100 women stronger than she is. So to say that somehow having had testosterone in your body at some point is an advantage is ridiculous because it's been proven to be false. And like she was saying that all these sports organizations are recognizing that trans women, a couple years after surgery being on hormones, that they don't have any advantage. That's finding over and over and over again. And Joe Rogan isn't responding because he has no response other than to say no, no, no. He has no actual educated response, So, right.
Thank you, man.
I find it to be, how do I say this? I got a bad feeling about him saying these types of things when he's the announcer for the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
just saying, but
it reminds me of what was that football coach that was saying all that that racist stuff, and it was they fired him from the football association and they sued him for I don't know, it's just like for the organization clearly supports you, but at the same time their spokesperson doesn't, and is saying things against you. So this is the state of what it is to be a trans woman in a lot of regards. On paper they support you, but when it comes down to words and exchanges, what's really happening,
and it's messed up. I don't see like the people like the brass at UFC like saying the things that he's saying. But, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the other disturbing thing about Joe Rogan and the few videos that I've watched that he's done about you is that he says all these negative things, but then he backtracks a little bit and talks about how he's supportive of people who are trans and the idea of being trans. He tries to pretend that he's supportive of it, which clearly he's not. But, yeah. Like, I support her right to be a woman, and if that's what she wants to do, but she has no reason to be in UFC, that kind of stuff is.
I hate it when people say this. I support trannies.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You even want to go there, but
oh no. And my other favorite one is like, oh my gosh, Kaiya, I so support you. I have a ton of gay friends.
I know. I've known many drag queens over the.
Yeah. And it's just like I'm like I'm not gay. I'm not
not a drag queen, not a cross-dresser.
I'm not a transvestite.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but you know what I mean. It's like I don't think you know what you mean.
Yeah, they don't know what they mean. They're confused. Probably confused about themselves too.
Yeah, But this is the reason why we've got to continue. You've got to, what you're doing is so incredible. Being in the public eye and continue doing. I mean, you're doing this, for yourself. You're doing what you love, which is why we need to be doing all of our stuff in the first place. But there's a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people who really truly look up to you, myself included. Mm-hmm. you know, we're just about out of time on this interview here, but you know, I for one want to say that you know you are really, really, truly an inspiration to a lot of young trans people out there.
Thank you.
And we so thank you from you know the bottom of our hearts here at the Queer Life for being out there and dealing with all the crap. You know, you're in the public eye, and we honor that.
You know what I can't wait for you to see? I cannot wait for you to see Game Face, the documentary Game Face.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. You know the video that's on me online that says Fallon Fox documentary on YouTube?
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's a whole movie behind that. There's a whole movie.
Wow.
Awesome.
And it's just been finished, completed. This documenting my coming out process, so it goes back before I came out, like lots of like, you know, things I can't even talk about, you know.
Right.
But you're gonna love it. It's gonna come out soon. It's traveling around different what do you call them? Film festivals, and whenever that's done, you know, it'll be distributed. So
great.
I just like to put that out there so everyone can be on the lookout for it when it comes out. So
Awesome.
Absolutely, and when it does come out, we will certainly announce it to everybody and have a link on thequeerlife.org. So again, Fallon, thank you so much for giving us an interview here on the Queer Life Radio Show.
For sure. Thank you for having me. Had a lot of fun.
Yep. And again, I am your host, Kaiya Kramer of the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussion, and interviews. I am with my co-host, Mandi Hauwert.
On camera,
you know, no less. And this has been a remote interview with Fallon Fox. If you have any questions about any of the content in this interview, we will have links to what's been mentioned down below. If you're listening to this over radio, over KBBF, go to thequeerlife.org and look for the Fallon Fox interview. It'll be on the front page or under KBBF, under the archived interviews link. And we hope to continue to broadcast, educate, and bring more into the world from you, from the Queer Life, from the LGBTQIA. Killing it out there, Fallon Fox. Rock and roll. All right. San Francisco Bay Area. Good night.